Here we go. This is the end of the second year. Let's see how things went for Mayan Sun Aztec Destiny. I haven't done the end game yet. I thought I'd do that on camera. I'll just give you a recap of where we are. We had quite a heated battle between the different players here on this one. This is what we've ended up with village size wise. So red dominated this time, really came out on top with crop growth and able to the ability to move around. We actually used most of the cards before that final turn card came up, so that was pretty great. It really made it difficult. Gray was really struggling at the end to figure out a move that wouldn't actually end up hurting him even more. So then we got into the prophecy tokens. Blue dominated with prophecy tokens, was able to do a lot of changing, including moving the destiny cone, which then moved the end date to here, where they were already set up with their time stick. So at the beginning of the second year is when you make your prediction with your time stick. It all just sounds so bizarre coming out of my mouth as I'm talking about this, but it makes perfect sense, and it's just an incredible game, I gotta say. Villages were made, resources were used, everything kind of ended the way that it did. We have red in the lead with 41 points so far, followed by, what is that? That's the gray character who's at, I guess, 34 points. And then trailing blue is sitting at 34 points, 31, 32, 33, 34. Hold on a second. What's going on? Oh, that's right, because we're at the 40 marker here. That's the 11. Understood. So I just put this in the wrong place. That's why I'm confused all of a sudden. Either way, red is way out front. Red is way out front there. So that's a good start for them. So what happens in the final year? Let's go through it piece by piece here. After the second year is complete, players score for the destiny marker and the date marker. Players score 1 victory point for each remaining resource on the resource track and each remaining Jaguar and Prophecy token earned in the last Prepare for New Year phase. So we'll kind of go gray first. Gray's got 1 point there and then has 1 and 1 for those. So another 2 points, bumping them up there. And then we'll go to blue. An extra point there for blue, and blue is sitting on 1 Jaguar token there, so 1 other point. And then we'll get red, so red sitting on 1, 2, 3 extra crops, so 1, 2, 3, and is also sitting at 1 and 1, so another 2, 1, 2. Still dominating. What's next? The player whose fate cube is on the same glyph as the destiny marker earns the destiny victory point. Same glyph as the destiny marker. So that's the time. Boy, oh boy, what happens when you have things that are all sorts of names? Let me just make sure that I'm calling the pieces by the correct name. The destiny marker is the cone. The date marker is the octagon. So the player whose fate cube is on the same glyph as the destiny marker earns the destiny victory points. The points can be determined by adding the 2 destiny point tokens together for the space the destiny marker ended. The player can earn anywhere from 2 to 20 victory points. The player also doubles his destiny points if he has achieved mastery of long count on the Technology Village progress track. Nobody reached that. Mastery of long count is right at the end here, this final phase on this one track. Nobody made it there. The focus really seemed to be on calculating the villages, and maybe that's a lost opportunity, not putting in enough time on this side of the track. So I'm unsure how to score this. Nobody's cube is on this unless this one counts, because it's on that section, you know what I mean? It's on that piece that's divided by the black line. So I'm going to hold off on that. because I'm not 100% sure how to score that. Let's go to the next one. The player that has his time stick on the same date space as the date marker earns 10 victory points. And that is indeed what happened here. So that's 10 victory points for the gray player who desperately needs that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 puts them in a tie. Let's make sure that we get the 40 plus. This should go over here, actually. So they get the 40 plus. Players decrease any victory points for death tokens as they would in the Sun game. Each death token increases in negative value. So blue and gray each had one death token. So that's -1 victory point for blue and -1 victory point for gray. And then the player with the most points wins and now has the sole knowledge of the end times. This game is designed in such a way that the winner is now qualified to write a book discussing the end times the player has discovered. The winner is also qualified to call into late night radio talk shows to explain his findings. The game is very accurate in its foretelling of doom or hope. If players are unhappy with their findings, playing the game again will change the course of their previous findings. Ties are broken in the following order, etc. When finishing the game, players can decipher what they have found with the following glyph and date description. So let's have a look to see what we found here. So we are on this glyph here, which is the super volcano. The end will come due to a great smoke and or fire-related catastrophe, possibly supervolcanoes, nuclear war, toxic pollution, earthquakes. Move one clockwise. Jesus, nuclear war. That's not a good omen here, people. And then the date is 1987. Tony Shearer believed this to be the year of the Great Harmonic Convergence, a time for global meditation correlating to the alignment with planets in our solar system. Tony Shearer developed the studies that would become the 2012 Mayan mythology. So there we go. Like I said, not 100% sure on how to score this. We're going to call it a red victory because even if red is getting the points there, that's just going to push them over the edge. So what an amazing game. Really, really fun. A lot of moving parts, but once you kind of get the hang of it, even though there's a couple of things I've still had to refer to the book, the instructions for, I didn't have to refer to it that much. Just kind of reminders and end game or end of year scenarios, just making sure I'm following everything precisely because you don't want to screw that stuff up. Other than that, it's once you kind of get into it, it's relatively simple to learn. Starting with the Sun game is definitely the way to go, though. Making sure that you kind of have a few times hitting that Sun part of the game to really get used to the crops and all of that kind of part of it, and then expanding from there. So fantastic game as usual, Nate. Everything in this game is true. Designed by Nate Hayden. Art by Wizard333 and Wendy Wiewert. Cover art by Joseph Launders. Edited by Jason Isaacs. 2012 for print and play. And then there's a extensive list of thanks, including his mom, Fire, Air, Time, Space, and Fractals. Right on. Mayan Sun, Aztec Destiny.